President Donald Trump says the Senate shouldn't leave Washington until lawmakers vote on one bill, the SAVE Act. But why is he making it a priority before Congress begins its August recess? Trump is urging Senate Republicans to remain in session until the SAVE Act receives a vote. The legislation would require proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections, a measure supporters say is needed to strengthen election integrity. Trump argues delaying the vote would send the wrong message ahead of the midterm elections and has called on Republican lawmakers to stay in Washington until the issue is addressed. Supporters of the bill say it would help prevent non-citizens from registering to vote in federal elections. Opponents argue existing federal law already prohibits non-citizens from voting and warn the proposal could make voter registration more difficult for some eligible citizens if documentation is unavailable. With Congress preparing for its August recess, the debate over the SAVE Act has become more than just another legislative fight. It is now emerging as one of the key election issues Trump wants Republicans to campaign on heading into the midterms.
Well, we're just going to talk about Save America. We have to pass the Save America Act, which is voter ID, which is proof of citizenship, etc. We have to pass it. So we're going to have to talk about that and many other things. A lot of good relations.
Mr. President, the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, has told you many times he doesn't believe that they have the vote to pass it. That's what being a leader is about.
You know, he's a leader. John's a leader. That's what being as a leader is about. Look, we have to be able to get proof of citizenship when you vote. Otherwise, we don't have elections. We have to be able to get voter ID. So John is a leader, and hopefully he can get the votes.
Hello there, friends. Welcome to our gathering place. It is so good to have you here with me today. Before we begin our story, please take a quick second to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your family and friends. It helps us keep sharing these good, true stories of our beautiful country. Now, let us get right to it.
The Senate sucks. I'm just gonna come out and say it, they suck. This is not hard. 80% of the American people want the Save America Act to pass. Not 80% of Republicans, 80% of the American people. And the only organization that refused to act is the United States Senate. Everybody else is saying, this is common sense. We should do common sense things. Let's make sure only Americans are voting in our elections. Makes sense, right? Let's protect the franchise of the American people. Let's make sure that people who are sent to Washington are being voted on by Americans. Who the American people choose is up to them, but we have a responsibility to secure that franchise and to secure that process for the American people. And what is happening in the U.S. Senate is laziness, and quite frankly, it's disgusting. What? The Senate Democrats don't want to have voter ID in America. Why? Because they want to maintain their power. Senate Republicans don't want to do the right thing and actually have a true filibuster on the floor and debate the matter on the floor, because it would take them away from their precious meetings that they have to conduct. I'm sorry. They have a responsibility to open up the Senate floor and debate this issue in front of the American people. I agree with Chairman Harris 1,000%. I want to hear what Chuck Schumer has to say on the floor in full debate about why he opposes this measure. I want to hear what Elizabeth Warren has to say about why she would oppose this measure. I want her to tell the people of Massachusetts why she believes that the people of Massachusetts should not have to show a photo ID in order to vote in a federal election in the United States of America. Just the other day, President Obama opened up his presidential library.
On the Senate, on the SAVE Act, why do you want the U.S. Senate to stay in town? Shouldn't they be out across the country campaigning?
What a stupid question.
Shouldn't they be out and be campaigning, though?
What a stupid question. For Jennifer to ask such a stupid, she's a smart person. I knew her all the way back in the Iowa days when she said Trump's going to win. And boy, was she right. So listen, why do I want it? The SAVE Act has to be done. They shouldn't leave town. I'm not going to stop them from doing it, but they should get the SAVE Act done. If they don't get it done, it's going to be a very bad thing for the party. And frankly, you know, if you look at it, the SAVE Act is going to be voted against by all Democrats, just so we know. We have some Republicans that I will not comment on, a few of them, probably four, that we probably won't get the vote. I'd like to comment on them, but I have too much sense to do it. the Democrats are going to vote 100% against voter identification and proof of citizenship. 100%.
Do you think you can get the Save America Act over the finish line before the recess or before the midterms even?
Look, we have to do everything humanly possible to pass the Save America Act. I'm an original sponsor of the Save America Act. For months, I've been making the argument to my colleagues, we need to get this passed to preserve election integrity, to stop rampant voter fraud. As you noted, over 6,000 illegal voters registered in New Jersey. The Democrats, that's how they stay in power. You look at the debacle in California. They may still be counting votes in California. Democrats want illegal aliens to vote. That's why they oppose the Save America Act. We need to do everything humanly possible. What I've been arguing to my colleagues is we need to force the Democrats to do a talking filibuster, not just raise a finger and say, I filibuster, but stand up and talk and talk and talk. Think Jimmy Stewart in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Or remember back to the 21 hours that I filibustered on the Senate floor against the disaster that was Obamacare. We need to make the Democrats do that until they can talk no longer, and then we should pass the Save America Act. Absolutely, we should stay here through August. We should keep going until we get it done. And look, it's a real press. Do we get 50 Republicans to stand together? I am fighting tooth and nail to make that happen. I'm grateful for the president fighting. We need to get this done.
Folks, gather round and listen close, because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of story that warms an old American heart like mine. I have seen a lot of ups and downs in this great country of ours. I have watched leaders come and go, and I have always stood firm with the hardworking people who just want free and fair elections, safe homes, and a government that puts America first, right now. In these late summer days of 2026, something truly powerful and wonderful is unfolding in the United States Senate. It is all thanks to the bold leadership of President Donald Trump and the true, brave conservatives who simply refuse to back down. The big roadblock that tried to stand in the way of the Save America Act has officially started to crack wide open. Now, if you are wondering what that act is, it is a very simple and fair rule. It just means people need to show a photo ID and prove they are citizens before they vote. Think about it like showing an ID to check out a special library book or signing up to play on a Little League baseball team. It keeps things fair for everyone. For months, this important rule sat stuck. Some folks in Washington dug in their heels to delay it, but a massive, joyful push led by strong voices like Senators Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, and Jim Banks has completely outsmarted that old, slow way of doing things. Together with President Trump, they have secured the solid support of enough conservative leaders to hit a very magic number, 50 votes. By getting these 50 votes, they can use a special tool called budget reconciliation. I know that sounds like a big fancy word, but all it really means is they found a clever legal way to bypass the endless delays they're moving forward right now on national voter ID rules that every day honest Americans have wanted for such a long time. Just in these recent days, as the Senate got ready for its August summer break, the pressure to do the right thing became impossible to ignore. President Trump, with that wonderful protective fire in his heart that never quits, made his message crystal clear. He said there would be no packing up and heading home for vacation until we see real action on keeping our elections safe and secure. He called out the need to keep everyone working hard and to use every single tool available to get this done for the people. Majority Leader John Thune, facing that beautifully united team of America First leaders and the President's strong vision, has adjusted his course to help lead the way. The old habit of just waiting around and hoping for a miracle has been set aside. Instead, the energy is shifted toward putting the best parts of this bill, like helping states easily check IDs, into a package that can pass right now with a simple majority. It is a forceful, happy leap forward that builds a bright path to victory. And it is happening today because President Trump and the Senate conservatives absolutely refuse to give up on fairness.
Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. What they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0.
That in the Save America Act as one of our 5. That's voter ID. We want voter ID. We want proof of citizenship. We want no transgender mutilization of your children. We don't want transgender mutilation. That's number 3. We want no men in women's sports. That's number 4. And we don't want to have mail-in voting where the votes go. Where the hell do they come from? So we do that. It's 5 things. They're all 99%. They say, oh, that's an 80% issue, like voter ID. No, I think it's a 99. I think the Democrats have it at 87%. The leadership doesn't want it. Why don't you want voter ID? There's only one reason. Ready? Because you want to cheat. Okay? They blame it on all sorts of things. They came up, they said it's racist. They came up with things that you have to say their imagination is great. No, we're not going to let them cheat like they did in a certain election that we won't talk about. But that election was, and they cheat now. Look, we're not going to let it happen. So we're going to go get the Save America Act, not the SAVE Act. Nobody knew what the SAVE Act meant. The SAVE Act, what, save what? Save America Act. And we're going to do everything we can. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe we're having a hard time. I think anybody that votes against it shouldn't be allowed to run for office. You want to know the truth. But we're working.
We will stay here weekends and until we can get this passed, because we know this is important. Now, you and I talked last week about breaking this bill apart, right, and doing one piece at a time. And as you know, last Monday night, I led our senators on the floor in pushing forward with just show a voter ID, that portion of the bill. So we're saying whatever it takes. If it is staying here, if it's breaking the bill in pieces, doing pieces one at a time, whatever we need to do to make certain that we pass the SAVE Act.
The American people do not support voter ID. Mr. President, our Democrat colleagues are fond of bellowing into the TV cameras that photo ID to vote is Jim Crow. They tell us with mock earnestness. Now, I will admit, our Democrat colleagues should be experts in Jim Crow, because it was Democrat politicians who passed the Jim Crow laws. It was Democrat politicians who founded the Ku Klux Klan. It was Democrat politicians for decade after decade who enforced discrimination, separate but equal, poll taxes, and a host of other laws designed to prevent African Americans from voting. But do you know who has rejected their disingenuous claim that photo ID to vote is Jim Crow? The Supreme Court of the United States. Supreme Court of the United States, the state of Indiana, passed photo ID law requiring that you show a photo ID to vote. And a group of left-wing plaintiffs filed litigation challenging that.
Think about what all this means for regular folks like you and me, sitting right here together, out in the heartland, in our quiet small towns and our busy big cities. People are just plain tired of wondering if their vote counts the same as everyone else's. We've all heard the stories of good neighbors who stand patiently in line on Election Day, only to see confusing questions about late ballots or registrations that nobody ever checked. This whole push for the SAVE Act is really about one beautiful thing: restoring our trust. It is about making absolutely sure that only American citizens decide America's bright future. When President Trump talks about this, he does it with the deep strength of a man who truly knows what is at stake. He sees the big, beautiful picture. He knows that safe and secure elections mean a much stronger nation. It means a country where we can focus on creating good jobs, making our own energy, keeping our neighborhoods safe, and making sure our kids' futures are as bright as the morning sun. That is what America First looks like in real life. No more excuses, just wonderful results that help every single family. I remember sitting with some good friends at our local diner just a little while back. We were having some warm cherry pie and talking about how voting should be simple, honest, and easy to trust. One of my friends, a brave veteran who served our country proudly, said it so perfectly. He looked right at me and said, "If I need to show an ID to get on an airplane to visit my grandkids, why shouldn't I show one to vote? It is the very least we can do to protect this beautiful republic." Stories just like his are everywhere. I spoke to a young mother in a neighboring state just the other day. She told me how she sits at her kitchen table and teaches her little ones about the Constitution. She wants them to grow up knowing that their vote is a sacred, special thing that truly matters, and that it will never be watered down. These wonderful, everyday Americans are so inspired by President Trump's bold leadership. As our 47th president, he does not tiptoe around the hard truths. He charges forward to protect us. And that great energy has rallied those brave Senate conservatives to do the exact same. Look honestly at how hard they have worked to get us to this exact moment today. Earlier this year, the House of Representatives kept passing this good Save America Act, sending it over with big, loud cheers of support. But as spring turned into summer, attempts to pass it kept running into a giant brick wall. They needed 60 votes to move forward, and some cautious folks held back. But the core conservatives, men like Senator Cruz, with his sharp defense of our rules, Senator Lee with his endless hard work, and Senator Banks standing tall, kept the fight alive for all of us. Then, as midsummer heated up, President Trump held important meetings with these senators. He kept the pressure on with deep, private resolve and loud public encouragement. And friends, the tide finally turned by firmly securing those 50 conservative votes for that clever reconciliation path. It means the unfair delays no longer have the final say, but Leader Thune was outmaneuvered by this grassroots wave of hope the best possible way, by happily joining the side of progress for the American people.
That there's a strange, unorthodox streak going through the party, and I would argue the country in some ways, but it's manifesting itself here, where people think that you shouldn't have to work, that you shouldn't have to pay some dues to get to where Oprah is, to get to where Jesse is, to get to a point in life.
I'm not on Oprah level yet.
To achieve the things you want to achieve in life.
You're more like
I listened to Bernie Sanders, and for the life of me, I've listened to him over the years. I've never heard him campaign for no prisons, no police, no borders, and pro-Hamas. I've heard him talk about Medicare for all. I've heard him talk about raising the minimum wage, and I give him some credit. We've seen the minimum wage increase over the many years, and he's been saying that for a while. But if he firmly believes that the economic anxieties of the country, particularly Democrats and independents alike, are going to be addressed and satisfied, because the American people are not being ambiguous at all about what they want. They want lower prices. They want not forever wars. They want their kids to have better futures and an opportunity to achieve the American dream. No prisons, no borders, pro-Hamas, no Senate, none of that I've ever heard Bernie talk about. So in some ways, I feel bad for him, because he's embracing people, embracing ideas that he knows has no place in the American political system. But here's where I have to be critical. Senator Sanders, you have to denounce that. At the end of the day, for us to get to where we want economically, your ideas and my ideas, we differ. I think we should have no taxes on the first $75,000 for people who work. I think we ought to end the president's tariffs to lower prices. I think we ought to give kids who have perfect attendance in public schools each semester another $500 for their Trump accounts, or whatever we want to call them. I'm not for Medicare for all, but you know what? I don't believe you're for no police. I don't believe you're for no prisons. You are better than that. Those on your side who believe in those things, stand up against those who are going to undermine our ability to win. You said it best. Jana, you said it best. We're 15 points behind with the fellow in Michigan, who probably is a nice guy, but he doesn't deserve to be in the U.S. Senate if he can't win. Haley Stevens, this is not a campaign. This is not an ad for her. My only point is, in order to do the things we want to do on the economic front, we have to win. And people who are advocating for no prisons, no police, no borders, eliminate the Senate, and pro-Hamas, that's not what the majority of the American people want. If we nominate those people, Greg, I know we may differ around the table, my party, where we all stand on some of these issues. We Democrats will deserve to lose if these are the people that we put up to run in the fall.
This beautiful moment we are sharing right now is a massive win for our whole country because it puts the power exactly where it belongs, right back into the hands of honest citizens who play by the rules. President Trump's vision has always been so clear and simple. Our election should be secure, easy to understand, and completely fair. No more worrying about who is really voting. No more weakening the great system that has kept this lovely nation free for so many generations. When this good rule moves forward, our states will finally have the tools they need to clean things up, stop anyone from cheating, and make sure every single legal vote shines bright like a star. What does this mean for us today? It means everyday Americans can feel safe and peaceful about the upcoming elections. Our hardworking farmers, factory workers, sweet school teachers, and small business owners, they all benefit from a system they can finally trust with their whole hearts. It strengthens our beautiful democracy from the ground up, like deep roots, making a mighty oak tree strong. When I think about our history, this fits perfectly into the long, proud American tradition of guarding our precious freedoms from our brave founding fathers who wanted a country run by its citizens. To all the good people who protected our voting boxes in the past, we have always stood up to protect the ballot. President Trump stands tall in that long line of strong leaders who put our country first. His America First values shine so brightly right here. He believes in borders that mean something, elections that mean something, and a beautiful future where our children inherit a nation that works for them, not against them. The emotional connection we are feeling today runs so deep. Just picture the sweet relief in communities that have watched years of arguing without any results. Now, with this wonderful breakthrough in securing those 50 votes, hope is very real. I know a lovely elderly couple, lifelong patriots, who proudly vote every single time, and they told me with happy tears in their eyes that watching President Trump push this forward makes them feel their voices truly matter again. Young patriots are sharing how this inspires them to stay involved and to lovingly defend our Constitution. President Trump's strength and clear vision are the heartbeat of this happy moment. He does not settle for empty talk. He demands good results. By standing firm and backing the brave conservatives who refuse to quit, he has helped clear the path forward. As an old supporter who loves this country, this fills my heart with so much pride. We have come a long way by sticking together and putting America first. National Voter ID is moving from a hopeful promise to a wonderful reality. Step by determined step, keep the faith, stand tall, and know that under President Trump's leadership, our beloved America is rising stronger every single day. Well, my friends, it has been an absolute joy sitting here and sharing this good news with you today. If this story warmed your heart and gave you hope for our beautiful country, I would be mighty grateful if you could do a simple old man a favor. And please go ahead and gently tap that like button, subscribe to our gathering place so we can sit and visit again real soon, and share this message with someone you love. Together, we can keep the American spirit shining bright. God bless you, and God bless America.